Today's video is all about Delysium, blockchain for AI, AI for humanity. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into this project, looking into some of the fundamentals. We're going to be looking into the team, the tokenomics, the utility, and the overall value proposition, trying to figure out whether this project has what it takes to make it to our portfolio. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins looking for opportunity. And the question is Delysium an opportunity? Should we be buying into Elysium, preparing for the continuation to the upside for this bull run? Are the fundamentals good? Are some of the details regarding the project good? And of course, today, that is exactly what we were going to be talking about, some of the fundamentals. And of course, we're going to be looking from a retail perspective. We want to question whether the Delysium team is giving the retail investor everything they need to get fundamentally bullish. Is the website up to date? Does the documentation offer all the details that we need? Do we have the tokenomics in line? Is the team doxed and so on? Is the roadmap very clear so that we can understand where we're going with this project? And of course, we're going to be critiquing all these details so that we can get comfortable here, because ultimately we know we need to put our capital to work, but we need to protect our capital at all costs. All right, guys, so let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with Delysium. Delysium website looking pretty good, ultimately nice and clean. Some graphics here. What else does it say? AGI, the AI agent network. Delysium is building a blockchain based collaboration network for AI agents. So the AI agent narrative is definitely picking up. It definitely is heating up. So this is the thing. We try to find new narratives. We try to find hot narratives. Of course, it is like a sub narrative of the AI concept, and of course, it is bullish. A lot of people talking about these agents lately, so this is a good thing, including Lucy, which is a proprietary or a their main agent for the Delysium ecosystem. So including Lucy and the YKILY, I love you network. This is where Lucy lives and all other agents. Okay, so we'll talk about exactly how this infrastructure is working. It's like a two-tier infrastructure, and we'll definitely take a look at it. But of course, I want to give a very overall, deep dive where we're going to look at other things as well, such as, the team and the socials, the tokenomics, and so on. We'll dig into the tech just a little bit here so we can understand exactly what the value proposition is here with regards to a Web3 solution. Delysium's vision of the AI agent network echoes a timeless allure of digital realm, summoning a future. Okay, lots of fluff. Let's move on. We have agents, which is the big value proposition here. Autonomous AI agents are trained on Web3 data and are empowered with an extended toolkit capable of on-chain and off-chain interactions. So this is where an AI can act in behalf of us, essentially acting as an agent, being able to do things on-chain within the Web3 realm. And obviously, for a lot of us, this is good, especially if we're kind of like not familiar with Web3 and all of that. An agent could definitely bring some value to those individuals interacting on behalf of them. Now, as of now, we've known to kind of like get a little bit comfortable with AI, and that we can kind of quote unquote trust AI to act in behalf of us. But as long as we are aware of the type of tasks that it could get involved in, like for example, let's say an agent had its own wallet where it could transact, but with its own wallet, and we just give it the signal, transact, do this, buy this, sell that, or whatever the case is. Ultimately, it transacts with its own dedicated wallet. Then we're kind of okay with that because we can control risk with regards to its transactions via, this is its wallet. This is all it has in its wallet. This is what it's instructed to do. This is what the agent has, its limitations are. And ultimately, we can kind of define all of that, which is not too bad. Ultimately, this is the future, guys. We have agents that interact within a Web3 space, alleviating some of that, let's say redundant mechanistic tasks that humans do, leaving it up to the agents themselves. So this is actually pretty good value proposition there. And we do have a few projects out there within this AI agent space. Delysium is not the only one. The only thing is that Delysium right now is being talked about quite a bit. So let's take a look at something else, the communication layer. So here we have the agents, right? Lucy being one of them, right? That's their agent. Communication layer, the backbone of the network, enabling efficient real-time agent-to-agent communication. So Lucy, which is the Delysium agent, essentially, and other agents which could be trained in behalf of yourself, your agents, are basically going to be living on this layer where they can communicate with one another. Okay, so access to advanced data sets and other agent tooling. So agents literally communicate at this level. Okay, interesting. And then you have the blockchain level. Well, the network capabilities are streamlined by a secure and transparent layer that ensures agents' actions are accountable and aligned with the network's intentions through specific protocols. So this is where typical blockchain technology comes in, where it becomes a ledger, where we can kind of like keep track of all the transactions and all the, let's call them transactions, but ultimately all the interactions that these agents do are technically transactions that are done on the blockchain. And because of the actual AGI token coin out there, really this is the way you're able to kind of track all these interactions. So this is interesting. We got a multi-layer system here happening. The agents are not really part of that layer, but it's an identity that exists on these two layers, the communication layer and then the blockchain layer that kind of collects data and makes obviously immutable data, and all that kind of stuff that we all know about and all love about blockchain technology. Okay, so let's keep on going on. We have the Chronicles, which is going forward. The Chronicle is a protocol, a blockchain protocol designed to record crucial aspects of AI agents' decisions and interactions. So taking it even further, that whole blockchain idea of keeping data and collecting data and training the AI model based on all this data, because the more data you could collect, the more data it could use to actually make better decisions. It securely logs key information without compromising privacy and security. And then you have the agent ID, which is as the name suggests. Let's go back here. The agent ID is a unique identifier assigned to each AI agent. Okay, this is annoying. Within the network, it aids in tracking and authenticating the actions and interactions of the agent itself, ensuring accountability and security. So each agent has their own ID, right? And ultimately, this is the way the agent can be identified as a identity on the Web3 space. So you can see we got agents, we got the way the agents communicate, we got the blockchain that basically keeps everything accountable. Then we have the Chronicle, which collects data and also align with that accountability, keeping all the data, all the interactions stored and saved, and that kind of thing. And then obviously the agent ID that ensures that the agent itself is the agent that's supposed to be interacting, and it's just basically being able to identify the agent. Okay, so this is good, very clear. I like this. Let's move on. Lucy is an AI powered Web3 operating system on the I Love You network. So in this case, we see Lucy's an agent. You can get involved there, and you can see this is their network where Lucy lives. Okay, and we keep on going down. Lucy Alpha wallets, transactions recorded, Lucy Beta, waitlist. So this is a whole ecosystem. As we can see, it's a whole ecosystem that they're trying to build, and the ecosystem involves agents. And the question is, do you want to get involved as having your own agent as well, not just owning the token or whatsoever, but also getting involved of training your own agent and in providing getting access to that software solution. Okay, now I see here this is kind of like a roadmap or something. I think this is a little bit kind of funky. I think it's not a roadmap. It's not a typical roadmap. It's a very poor effort in what a roadmap should be. I see names here. I see Google and I see Microsoft, and I have big issues with that because it's deceiving. And I'm going to be very honest. You guys know I talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. These videos are, open and transparent. I work with the information that is provided by the team, official documentation, and ultimately I have a lot to say about this because there's nothing much offered with regards to even the partnership with Google, which for me kind of bothers me. And I've been doing deep dives for a while, guys. So feel free to check out the deep dive playlist. And also, if you want to get involved in requesting a deep dive, if you join the Discord, there is a channel there where you can vote on. We vote on the deep dives that I create. I don't choose these. You guys choose them. You guys suggest the deep dives. We vote on the deep dives, and I do the research. I take 3 days to do the research, and I give you an hour-long video giving you all the details you need to make some critical decisions. So this right here is a very poor attempt to what a roadmap is, or whatever this is. Okay, so we got to move on from here. We keep on going down. You can see this is where I get a bit of an issue. Google, Microsoft, Nvidia. I did my research, guys. I tried my best to get as much information I can out of this, and there is nothing. Okay, there is nothing. Now I'm going to tell you one thing that I'm seeing a trend out here. Google, and especially with the Google and the Microsoft, these two right here are usually what they are is cloud-based infrastructure, let's say implementations. So if all of a sudden you're part of the Google Cloud and you've been trained and the team has attended their training sessions, they all of a sudden believe that it is a valid partnership. It is not. Any developers, any teams can go and take a part in their workshops and be part of that Google infrastructure, cloud-based infrastructure. And the same thing with the Microsoft Azure. Just because you took the training, you might have gotten a certificate for that training. Any team can get involved in that type of training. It's not an exclusive strategic partnership where Microsoft is getting involved with Delysium. This is something so deceiving. And what's also in conjunction with this, if they did make a great strategic partnership with Google and Microsoft, they would have came out with a lot more clarity. And that goes with Nvidia, because there's nothing anywhere suggesting that Nvidia is actually a partner with Delysium. Are they using their GPUs, and then that qualifies as a partnership? If it was a valid partnership, guys, Delysium would be yapping about it day in and day out. There would be documentation, would be details about the partnership and the arrangement. There is nothing of any sort that suggests that Google, Microsoft, or Nvidia are in it with them in some sort of way. Okay, so this is what bothers me, guys. When you see these logos, be very critical about them. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a possibility that they are strategic. It's just that there is no information, and I do find some information that it's a cloud-based it's that they're part of the cloud, the Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud, and that's not a partnership, guys. A lot of software companies can get involved in that very easily. Okay, so let's move on from there. You make your own decisions based on what I said here. Obviously, if there is any details that I did miss, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, because honestly, this is a very deceiving thing, especially for the retail market, coming in seeing all these great partnerships, and all of a sudden none of them can really hold up. Okay, so then we see BNB chain. That's usually 100% usually in Polygon and Immutable. These are not partnerships. They're using their blockchain to a degree. It is an open blockchain. Anybody could use them. They're not strategic partnerships, right? I can deploy a project on BNB chain today if I wanted to, and same with Polygon, right? This is not an issue. This is not a relationship that is a strategic partnership. And then you have others, guys. At this point, I start to lose a little bit of let's say faith. They lose integrity because of this, and these are not clickable where you can actually see where the founder of Polygon or the top core team of Polygon is involved with Delysium and they're doing something. There's nothing here, because if there was, they would have tons of documentation for it. Okay, so be very critical, guys. And if we keep on going down, and we're going to talk about some of these tabs in a second, but you can see Lucy Beta Ignite soon. Lucy Beta's coming around. Okay, devs, a couple of links here if you want to read into what the team is all about and doing, because they don't have a proper roadmap. Okay, so they're relying on blogs and all of this, which for me keeps me on the fence about where they're going with the future with the chain, with the project. If they had a proper roadmap with proper documentation, I think a lot of us would be a lot more bullish where they're going with this. What keeps them really interesting is the agent's narrative. Okay, that's what keeps them really interesting. Okay, let's keep on going. Blockchain AI for AI humanity. Okay, so we got a little bit more ecosystem. So let's take a look at the ecosystem. Let's see if I can open this up in a new tab. I don't think so. Does it? let's try again. Okay, let's see if that opens up. Okay, it doesn't, but nonetheless, you'll look more of this. And then media partners, you know what this is all about, right? Media partners, people just advertising. At the end of the day, it's advertising, and that's about it. That's all you get here. And then you get, that's the partnerships. Is that the same thing, same link? Yeah, it seems like it. So that's that. We're gonna talk about the token in a second and all of that. Let's take a look at the white papers. Okay, let's start from the beginning. I wish this could go into dark mode. Sorry guys about the brightness, but this is it. We have a few, the founders, Jerry, Zhang, Delysium, and a lot of them are not docs, some of them are. So we'll talk about the team in a second. We'll get into that. This is the abstract. You can get into what's the need, what's the use case, what's the problem that they're trying to solve, how are they trying to solve it with the software development kits, the SDKs for easy integration of their protocols and all what they have to offer for developers to create agents and so on and so forth. This is good because at least it gives you an understanding of what they're trying to achieve. A big picture, really big picture. Introduction, you can see there's a bit more here, some graphical representations, but what we really want to know is this right here, is the tokenomics and all the technical overview. This is the main, this is the bread and butter of it all. Now you can see that there's a couple of levels here, and the communication layer, which we talked about, and the blockchain layer, which they're in sync. And then you have the agents and us, the users that use it. And if you kind of zoom in, you can see we have the agents, and the agents play within this realm, but mostly in the communication layer. And the communication layer is basically governed by the blockchain layer, right? So we have a blockchain that is basically keeping track of what is happening on the communication layer. Other agents and services and APIs definitely can interact with the communication layer if you're a developer, and so on and so forth. So this is actually a pretty clear demonstration of what it's all about, and we talked about that already. Fundamentally, service directly, okay, this and that. All right, let's take a look at what this is all about. So the agents, basically, it's the fundamental layer. This is the communication layer. You can see the Delysium ecosystem relies on its fundamental layer and specializes infrastructure that provides pivotal for the seamless communication between agents. So this is the communication layer. This is what I understand of it from the main website when I showed you those different layers. It is the backbone enabling AI agents to interact. Okay, so this is the I love you layer that we talked about. Then if you start looking at interoperability, that's definitely there. Of course, it is EVM compatible and all that kind of stuff. So when we see EVM compatibility, it's on BNB, it's Ethereum based, and so on. We get the opportunity to see this thing potentially deploy on other EVM compatible chains. So this is good. Infrastructure. Okay, hotspot. Okay, I'm going to get into some interesting things. The blockchain, the integration of AI and blockchain. This is actually good stuff. Delysium leverages the two existing layers. Again, a little bit of reputation here. The network layer and the blockchain layer. We talked about this already. So even a bit of repetition, too much repetition happening here as well. Decentralization, the agent IDs. We talked about this. So I'm not going to get into more of this detail. If you want to get more into detail with regarding the tech, I do highly suggest that you look into it. But the way I spelled it out to you guys, it's very self-explanatory, right? We have the agents with their own IDs, and their IDs allow to monitor the agent out there in the Web3 space, okay? The immutable ledger of the AI agents. We talked about this, that at the end of the day, there's a blockchain behind all of this that monitors and regulates and all of that. The Chronicle allows for easy verification of claims, ensuring that every agent operates within the defined parameters. Like I mentioned, those parameters are clear because once we train our agents, we got to make sure that those agents stay within the confines of what we wanted to do. And this is where the whole blockchain layer and the communication layer kind of plays in that relationship between the two. Okay, so this is good. And then that's the tech. That's exactly what it's trying to do here. And then the tokenomics. This is where things get a little hectic, just a little bit hectic, because there is a lot to be said here. Okay, there is, you can see that there's a future use case beyond its current uses. The language here is quite poor, in my opinion. I think it needs to be revisited. I think it needs to be rewritten in a way that is a little bit more clear, because if it's insinuating that beyond its current uses, we're going to do this. So beyond its current uses, the AGI token is anticipated to play a pivotal role in maintaining the network. dot dot, which is this is what it's going to do in the future beyond its current use, then what is its current use? This is the issue. And this right here does not clearly define its current use. Okay, so this is the problem. Now, if you scroll down, you start looking, when was this last updated? A year ago, guys, a year ago. In blockchain, especially where we are in the cycle, a year-old documentation is ancient. Okay, so this needs a complete update. They should be ready to rock right now. This white paper should be at its prime, at its peak. Because if anybody wants to go and do some research right now, it's because they have cash on hand ready to deploy. And this is, we're entering a bull run. If you want the retail investor to get bullish, this thing should be updated every week, a minimum, right? And they should have somebody in the marketing team, in the communications team, doing something to keep this thing at peak shape, right? So this is one of my issues. It's old and the documentation is not clear. What is its current use? Luckily, I was able to dig in and kind of find out what exactly we could use it for, but nonetheless, this is not very clear, and this is a problem. Clarity is key. Not everybody, is in this space for a while. A lot of new individuals coming into the space, and it's got to be clear for them, or else they're going to go and look somewhere else, or else they're buying in based on, pumpamentals, which is not the greatest thing. If it's a legit tech project, they need to provide all those details for us to get bullish. All right, let's take a look at a little bit of the distribution. You can see that we have an airdrop, we have the market maker, we have the private sale, we have the strategic sale, we have the team. If you add this all up, that's a significant amount of tokens, guys. Okay, that's a lot of tokens. We're talking about 20, 30, 40, 43% of the tokens are in basically flying through the early stakeholders of the project. Okay, that's a significant amount. And then we start to look into the big picture, big portion of the pie, which is 57% into treasury. Okay, now this treasury, keep this in mind, this treasury is very vague. You can search through this document. It actually has a search function within the documentation that you can actually search the word treasury. And if you search it, you'll notice that they don't even talk about what the treasury is and what it's about and where these tokens are and how they're going to work and who's in charge of them. Are they charge of are they behind the governance of the DAO, or who, what, where, when, how? So this is a problem. Because ultimately, if this treasury is in the direct control of the team, guys, this is a big problem. It's a huge problem. It's very centralized from a economic perspective, and this is an issue. It's like, we got to really have that clarity. So I'm gonna kind of let that simmer there, because I'm gonna repeat. I know I'm gonna end up repeating this again, so I'm gonna let that simmer with you guys. Look at that picture and look at how many of those tokens are actually issued to private investors such as me and you, individuals, retail investors. How can we guarantee that we're gonna get our fair share so that it's not a rug pull? This is the issue. Okay, let's keep on going down. Now, there is a vesting schedule, which is ideal, especially when we have treasuries and we have team market makers and strategic sales and all of that. We want to make sure that they're not going to get their tokens all at once. And I hate to say that TGE, since TGE, I think we're at about 19 months, because also there's no real clarity there. I went on the Discord, on the Telegram, to ask when TGE was, and I wasn't even convinced that the individual that answered my questions actually even knew, because the reality is, based on the current circulating supply, and based on the numbers that they given to me, it's not accurate. I think it's about 1.5 billion tokens are currently in circulation, which puts them at about 19 months in, which kind of makes sense with the current TGE that I saw there on some websites and some references. So this is another issue. I don't know why a lot of the teams do not put TGE right here. They should put TGE so we know how many months in we're in. This is not good enough just to put the acronym TGE and expect people to know and to start digging around and not know when it began or where we are in the phase of the distribution or in the vesting schedule. Okay, so this is the problem. Now, I believe that we're in 19 months based on the numbers and based on the details that I was able to collect, and it kind of makes sense, right? 19 months in. Now, if you look at it, the majority of the tokens, and it's not linear. You can see that it's not a linear distribution. It goes up a little bit higher. We ramp up the distribution over time, and right around the 19th month, which means that ultimately we're going to start to see a little bit more tokens enter the market. And guess who's getting those tokens? It's the team is going to be getting a little bit more of them, and a little bit strategic sale, private sale. They're going to be ramping up a little bit. And mostly we're seeing that the market maker is pretty steady, and the airdrop and the treasury is getting some too, and increasing, ramping up. You can see a big ramp up right around now. So is there a risk of dilution? There could be. This is the issue. Is it major? Not major, because it's only a small ramp up, you can see, but it's still a ramp up. We should see more tokens enter circulation over the next little while, up until the pretty much the 40th month. Then maybe we kind of taper off a little bit, as you can see. But till then, guys, it's quite a bit of tokens that are going to be entering the market strategically month per month. But the problem is how many tokens are actually going to run through a centralized organization or a centralized identity that is in control of all these tokens. Like I mentioned, I'm going to go back again because I told you I was going to repeat myself. You can see that the treasury is going to go ramp up with tokens. The team is going to get their tokens. Everybody's getting tokens. But who's controlling the majority of this? Is it going to be governed by the DAO? Now, there is a governance part of this project, which is healthy, but there's no documentation to say that the DAO, that the treasury is governed by the DAO, where individuals like you and I that hold tokens can go there and vote on how the tokens are being spent. Now, are we voting on an individual who's going to be in charge of spending? That's possible, but then we don't know how that's going to work either, because who holds the majority of the tokens currently? Is it going to be the private sale? Is it going to be the strategic sale? Is it going to be the team members? Are they holding the majority of the tokens at the moment? And if they are, guess who they're going to vote in? They're going to vote in someone to handle the treasury that is in line with their objectives, and that's not a centralized organization. That is an issue, guys. So look, if they gave us documentation and they gave us some clarity here, I would have a different conversation. But my job here is to give you some of the ideas that could be boiling up here, that could be in behind the scenes, that we're not really given any information about. And of course, we're going to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's good. We have a vesting schedule. What's bad is where are all these tokens going, especially the treasury. Okay, let's move on, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Of course, join the Discord. We can have a chat about it. And if there's something that I'm missing here, feel free to let me know. Future outlook, wouldn't it be ideal to have a nice roadmap? Oh, that would be ideal. It doesn't have to be on the daily roadmap to know exactly what they're doing day by day. That's what most people, most devs, that's what they think, or core members. They think that, they're going to be held overly accountable because we want to know what they're doing on a daily basis. That's quite extreme. I'm not saying that. I'm saying at least quarterly. Give us an idea of where we're going with things. Give us an idea where the capital is going to be placed, both human capital and financial capital. At the end of the day, if you want us to get involved, we need to be involved into what direction we are going in the next little while. So this is a failure on my part, but there is a lot of documentation, informal documentation on blogs, on socials, X, this and that. Do I qualify that as a concrete black and white roadmap? Absolutely not. There's no accountability unless you have it in black and white on a nice, easy to understand, some sort of flow chart of some sort. Okay, so that's that. Now, there is global impact. I'm not going to get into that. You guys can go check that out. There's a little bit AI agents and a little bit more detail that really, it's good, but it's beyond the scope of this deep dive. Debugging tools if you're getting in, the API libraries if you're a dev, documentation for those APIs, the launch pads for the AI's agents. When you create your own AI agents, there's going to be a marketplace where you can launch your own AI agent and perhaps earn and get rewarded. This is very, very typical of a lot of AI applications at the current moment, that you're encouraged to create AI solutions and then put them on an open marketplace where you can earn passive income or something like that with regards to your efforts. Okay, so this is great. Educational programs, events and conferencing, and marketing initiatives. Let's see. Small paragraph, nothing here. That's a year old. Guys, that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay, so now let's see who's behind this team. Let's see what's going on with regards to the vesting schedule. Maybe we can get a little bit more information here. You can see, just to give you a little bit more, you can check out this website. It gives you exactly where we are right now. We're basically on a linear unlock, a strategic sale, but the majority of the problem is the team and, of course, the treasury. Okay, we're going in hot right now with the unlock. So I don't know what's going to happen in the next little bit. Just be careful there, okay? And then we get into this. Remember what I mentioned about this. There's nothing here. Part with Delysium, it's not a partnership, guys. Go read this, go check it out. I am not confident in this being this is the Founders Hub community. Excited to have you here. It's not a anybody can be part of this. Okay, it's not an exclusive thing where they're getting involved type of thing. Okay, so let's be very clear about that, and then let's jump right into the team. Yan, Zhang, and Wu. Okay, honestly, this is all I was able to get, or as far as being doxxed. There are other members out there and involvements of other individuals into the project, but I couldn't secure the fact that they were actually valid members. Now, there is rumor of other names, and as I mentioned, those white papers do have other names, but these are the only, there's a couple others that I was able to get a hold of to kind of see what they're all about. So let's jump right into that. Obviously, go into the LinkedIn page of Delysium. You can go into people and then you can see who's involved. We got some talent. Okay, this is one of the founders. We have blockchain developer. That's great. We got somebody there. This dude right here, I feel like he's probably the brains behind the operation for the most part, in my opinion, with regards to tech. Okay, he's an engineer, full stack engineer. I have a feeling that he's the one that's getting this project off its feet with regards to the technology aspect. And then the AI agent network. Now, let me be clear. Technology, what I mean is Web3, not necessarily the AI aspect of things. Okay, so let's kind of look into some of that. So this is the founder, one of the co-founders. Okay, show I love to AI. Okay, co-founder, full-time at Delysium. He's also a full-time co-founder of this company right here, RCTAI, and I'm going to let you know a lot of the individuals that are involved in Delysium are also involved in this project right here. Okay, so there's a little bit of mingling happening there, and there's a little bit of spreading of talent a bit thin across these two companies. Now, I don't know exactly what the relationship is with the two companies, but this is an AI company, and this is Delysium is a Web3 blockchain solution. So it could be that they're transferring some of their know-how from the AI realm into a Web3 project, which is fine. It's just that I feel that I feel like maybe they're spread too thin. I'm not sure. But ultimately, when I see this, I don't see full dedication. But it could just still be the fact that they have one wing of their operation that is focused purely on AI and AI solutions that is not geared towards going to Web3. And based on their efforts here, they're able to translate or transfer some of that into a Web3 solution, which is totally fine as well. So I'm not going to be too rough on there. But once you go down, you see a master's degree in finance. So this is a finance guy. Okay, not really a Web3 or an AI person that I can see here. Okay, so degrees in finance, and we scroll up and you can see this is it. He's the founder. So we got to ask ourselves, what actual value can he bring to the Web3 space? It doesn't seem like, based on his profile here, I'm not sure. And he's a founder, but doesn't mean that he's the actual individual behind the tech. And then you can see Golden Clouds Network Technology, full-time, also full-time. So present, I'm not sure what's going on here. And then, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not seeing any real detail with regards to his history being part of the AI field too much. Like, he's the co-founder of a company, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's his background. So I'm a little bit iffy here. Okay, seems good though. This individual, amateur graphic designer. This one I had to dig a little bit for the profile. You can see that there's this involvement as well as a board member. But if you look at some of the documentation, this individual is part of the team somewhere. Los Angeles metropolitan area, guys. It's not fully doxed. There's no clarity here, which kind of bothers me. So I'm going to keep that on the side because he is on, again, this website, and he is on some documentation that I was able to find online. So that's something that we got to understand here. Let's go back. And then, where I found clarity was right here. Back to this dude right here, Morteza Morty, full stack engineer with over 8 years of experience in Python, web machine learning, software development. He has built application, led teams, it's so on, business, individuals. Oh, good stuff. And you can see that he's also a full stack engineer at RCTAI, and he's permanent. Okay, he's been there for about 4 years. Okay, which is look, self-employed web developer, senior network analyst, chief engineer. You get what I mean? So at the end of the day, like, we know that founders sometimes they bring the talent, and sometimes talent in different areas of, let's say, Web3. It could be marketing, it could be the tech itself, it could be finance, it could be so many things, right? They could just be VCs, right? Just individuals that bring in the capital, hire all the talent, and and just be the organizer behind the operation. But we can see that this team needs the Web3 talent, and I believe that Morteza could be one of them, and maybe even within the AI space, maybe there are a couple others that maybe I wasn't aware of. But this is the issue: is when the core team does not have, or the core founders does not have direct or clear talent within the industry that it's getting involved with. We kind of default to look at who else is part of the team, and they're not, leads in the sense that they're not founders and co-founders and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, guys, they're talented. So it's maybe we are in good hands here. It does look like it. Okay, so I'm going to keep that there. Now, as you can see, there are some issues here. There are some issues with regards to tokenomics. There are some issues with regard to the marketing. There are some issues with regards to a lot of things here. White paper needs up to date. There are some issues. And mostly what I don't like here is the tokenomics. And when we rate and when we look at a project, we have to understand, yeah, maybe a roadmap is not there, but is it that important? Are we going to really rank it, or be bearish because a roadmap doesn't exist? But tokenomics, you don't mess with. Tokenomics is super important, guys. Okay, so what I do is I release an infographic for you guys. I'm going to put this on the social. So this is a quick summary as to what we talked about. I'll put this available for you guys on the social so you can refer to all of this, and we'll zoom in here and give it a chat. Okay, so ultimately we have the ecosystem. It's a multi-layered ecosystem stemming from the agents themselves, Lucy, and then we have the YKILY network, I love you network. Blockchain layer is also there, so multiple layers, multiple identities, a multi-layered structure. Then you have the chronicles and the agent ID, all meant to basically keep those agents accountable in some sort of way, right, within their transactions on the Web3 space. 10 out of 10, guys. Very clear, very understood, nothing, no ambiguity. I understand the objective and the utility behind each layer of the system. Okay, so good stuff. And then, speaking of utility, what is the token used for? And that was not clear. However, I was able to kind of piece it all together. There is staking for AI development, revenue sharing and incentives if you're a holder, transaction medium, so basically a currency, and governance. Ultimately, nowhere in the white paper is it clear about what the governance is all about. That's a problem. However, it is there. And do we judge it based purely on documentation? It wouldn't be fair, because it's the document that's the problem. It's the marketing and communication that's the problem, not necessarily what the utility of the token is. So when you communicate poorly, the problem is that people think that the utility of the token is actually bad because you didn't communicate it properly. Now, the reality is it should be good, and I give it 10 out of 10 because of that. Now, can they actually execute and convince individuals that the utility is good? And at this case, no, right? Because not only do we not know about it too much, but the roadmap doesn't really exist. There's no official roadmap. There's nothing readily available. If there is one, who knows where it is? And sometimes they come out of the woodworks later in some random nook and cranny of the website, and that's not a good marketing strategy. Updates are available via website, Medium, blog, and X. That's not appropriate. We need to see where we're going with things properly, and there needs to be somebody there that is updating documentation, not once a year, twice a year. It's got to be done frequently, especially in the current state that we are in this cycle. The team founders don't have a clear background in Web3. This is a bit of a problem. I am not crazy about that. However, there is a strong presence in the AI space based on their other project that they got going on, and some strong talent is evident. So what I'm going to do is say this. I know sometimes we look at founders and we say, who are these individuals? Like, they don't offer much to the team, but at least they can identify that they need to hire some talent. And I think they may have done a good job doing that, saying, look, I need a full stack developer on board. Maybe I have some background in engineering, software, whatever the case is, but I need someone that's going to be spearheading it. And I think they got some good talent there. So I'm gonna be very easy there on them. But The reality is that when you talk about the socials and you talk about where they're coming from, I think that ultimately a presence from the team would be a lot better, because I got on the socials and I wasn't able to get much happening out of them, right? Like there's no real community at this current moment. I got on Discord pretty dead. I asked a couple of questions. I was sent to X and to the white paper. No interest in creating dialogue and hashing things out and talking about the tech. And usually, if that's what you have, an individual like me on a social, within the community asking questions, that is an opportunity to spread information, and they are not taking the opportunity to spread information. Maybe they don't know. Maybe a lot of the moderators don't even know themselves, and this is a bit of an issue. So I do see that on the socials, their X followers are decent, right? But they are coming down in the last 30 days, 56% in comparison to the previous. So they got 4,000 followers, down a little bit, right? So I have been hearing a little bit of buzz behind Delysium in the last little bit. So it could be that maybe it's cooling off a little bit. They do about 40 X posts for the last 30 days, which is approximately one per day, maybe a little more, down approximately 9% in comparison to the previous 30 days. Okay, but still okay, still fine. For me, the biggest issue is the community building on the Telegram and the Discord. We'll talk about that in a second. Vesting schedule, that's a bigger issue for me. It's a 50-50 shot here. It's a it's a gamble. There's no clarity. There's no documentation. There's nothing. I'm not really crazy about any of it. Although there's a vesting schedule, I want to know where those tokens are locked up. Who's in charge of those tokens, or the wallets? Who's in charge of the wallets? Are we going to get rugged here? When you see a 57% in treasury, you start to question who's in charge of the treasury. Are they appointed, or are they voted in? Is the treasury are the tokens or the capital that is in the treasury going to be spent based on voting on the DAO, based on governance? How is this working? Right? And if it's not decentralized and it becomes a centralized organization based on the way the capital is being allocated, guys, be careful out there. That's all I got to say. And it's not the fault. It's not our fault or anybody else's fault, but the team's fault by not being clear and transparent about how these tokens are being distributed. Look at this. 43% of the tokens will run through early stakeholders, including the team. And then you have the treasury that is up in the air there. Guys, I'm on the fence here. Literally, I like the idea. I like the agents that they got going on here. I like the whole concept. The narrative is hot. But without proper tokenomics, it's dangerous, and to the point that I feel like it should be lower rated. But sometimes ambiguity or uncertainty is not, you shouldn't fail. I think this could be a wake up call for everybody to start making some noise and asking what is going on here. Please provide some information. The relationships is another one, guys. Don't take it. Don't just take anything that these projects give you. Ask for more information. There is nothing there other than them being part of some early, let's say, a early business a program or incubator program or some sort of program that helps new projects basically launch and things. And sometimes all it is just training to get involved in an ecosystem like a cloud-based infrastructure like Google and Microsoft offer for Azure and for Google Cloud and all of this kind of stuff. Guys, those are not strategic relationships or partnerships. So there's no information about the NVIDIA one and any of that. Media partners look good, but the rest of it is so ambiguous, no clarity there, to the point that I feel like they're somewhat deceiving. Right? We could take it as a negative very quickly because of that. If it was honest, they would have provided that information. Wouldn't you, as a founder that had a relationship with Microsoft and Google, be creating blog posts that define exactly what that relationship is about, to basically leverage that relationship as much as possible? I would be doing that. For me, that's a problem. A little bit of a red flag there, to be honest. Exchanges, pretty good. Binance, Upbit, Bitrue, Bybit, Mexi, many others, many levels of involvement, but we're waiting on a few more. I know Binance, it's good to be listed there, but really I would like to see a little bit more on other exchanges as well. Okay, so we could get listed on a few others, but still maybe Coinbase, I don't know. Ultimately, at the current moment, at the at time of recording and preparing of this infographic, we're doing okay with trading volume. There's a decent amount. 18% of its market cap is in trading volume. This is what I like to see: active trading volume. Okay, there's liquidity out there, there's buying and selling. There's an opportunity to get involved as far as being a trading, if that's you're interested. Supply, 42% in circulating supply, so 1.3 billion units are already in circulation, so that risk of dilution is pretty much cut in half, but it's still a significant amount, right? We're ramping up in the next little while, which is quite a interesting. Some of the aggregators like CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap have a bit of a discrepancy with regards to circulating supply. Some of them are, basically provided. Some of this data is provided by the team. Some of it is not. There is a discrepancy there, whether it's 1 billion or 1.25 billion. Guys, this is the issue. If the team provided the proper documentation and proper metrics and tokenomics, we would have the ability to verify this from the primary source. None of it is that available. Okay, so that's a bit of an issue as well. But other than that, we're doing okay. And then we keep on going this way. And I'll just give you a quick verdict of some of the odds and ends. L1, it's an AI narrative. It's part of the agents narrative, which is a sub-narrative of this AI concept. It is built on Ethereum and many other EVM compatible projects, ecosystems could be around the corner. It is also on the BNB chain, so that's a good thing. It is unclear if the treasury funds are governed by the DAO. I already mentioned this about 3-4 times. I'm not going to get into that again. Staking, AGI, basically in conjunction with Delysium multiverse accelerators, which is another asset class within the ecosystem that provides holders with access to ecosystem rewards. So again, I am not sure how this plays in. Obviously, this deep dive is about AGI, the token itself, and how its utility and its value proposition. But there's other ways to get involved here in the Delysium ecosystem through these multiverse accelerators. And I'm assuming they're just ways of locking up capital and ultimately getting reward for that. Okay, so and we've seen these types of mechanisms across many projects, and they're a little bit gimmicky, I guess, but especially with the vocabulary, the multiverse accelerators and all of this. At the end of the day, if they're like staking options, definitely that's good. Again, the Microsoft and Google partnerships are not clear and defined. I would have loved them to leverage this relationship with them, and maybe they're cloud-based platforms, and that's how they're getting involved. And for me, that's not enough. Nvidia partnerships is not defined at all. I couldn't find anything on that, and Nvidia hasn't mentioned anything, and I don't expect them to if it's not a valid strategic partnership. Discord not very active. Nobody to answer any questions. Very, very unfortunate. Telegram is more active, but still not very helpful, right? Not very helpful at all. Now the question is do moderators have the responsibility to answer questions? I guess that's based on the contract, based on their role, based on how the team made their role defined and so on. But there has to be somebody there that is going to be willing to have dialogue, even if they're annoyed because it's repetitive dialogue. This is the time to be ready on standby, to keep on having somebody there to help people out. There are people that don't know anything about crypto, but they do know that AI is around the corner and it is an opportunity. And they may not know what an agent is, and maybe they don't know what a white paper is. Maybe they don't know anything about this stuff. But guess what? The more you're available there to answer these questions, it's more of an opportunity to extend your reach across the retail market. And it is the cost of doing business in a speculative space. Okay, this is the reality, and they have to understand that somebody that's there ready to communicate with the general public, even though it might be a routine, monotonous conversation, I think it's a good way to spend marketing dollars to reach out at the grassroots level to everybody that is coming into this space in the next little bit. Okay, so the team is doxed to a degree. I would say it's fairly doxed. There are some founders, some people involved that don't have much information. But still, that's that. I say this. Look, guys, these are projections. Okay, I'm going to be very clear here. If AGI does well, okay, if it catches up to Fed, if that's the case, let's say it does a 14x. That's great. It did very well. Now, based on what I see here with the fundamentals, I'm not going to judge whether it's going to do it or not, because in a bull run, a lot of projects pump. everything does very well. Market cap comes in, market capital comes in, market cap, overall total market cap rises. The amount of capital that AGI could attract from all that inflow is defined based on many factors, fundamentals, obviously even technical fundamentals, and so on and so forth. Ultimately, a lot of projects do move, and if it does, and if everything lines up accordingly, I can see it catching up to FET in reaching a 14x, reaching at about $2.50. But you have to keep in mind the fundamentals here, and is it going to be a damper on its future or not? Again, guys, we are in speculative territory here, and I'm giving the project a 6 out of 10, just for the fact that there's a lot of missing parts. I kind of felt like maybe even less might be the case, but then again, maybe in some aspects it's good, some aspects it's not. But 6 out of 10, guys, for me, there might be other opportunities where I'm willing to take risk in the immediate short term, because ultimately it's where you put your capital that you should be considering, because putting your capital at risk is quite dangerous. Again, guys, I hold the bag because overall its utility, its narrative is good. The team is somewhat decent, and there are some good things coming out of it with regards to fundamentals. But am I getting into heavy bags here? Not until I get some clarity and I feel confident in what's going on with Delysium for the future. All right, guys. So as you guys know, I do release all this stuff on socials, but we're going to take a look at some of the price action. Let's see what's going on here with Delysium. Ultimately, Delysium made a really nice bottom right here. It's very nice price action. You can see that it came down from making lower lows and lower highs, and it is currently working on a nice pivot point structure. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. So you can see lower lows and lower highs very, very clearly, in a downwards descending type of wedge. This is very typical, as we do come down to very critical levels around this zone. It could come down a little bit more. You never know, right? We got to make sure that we understand there's always a bullish and a bearish scenario in this space, right? We got a nice rally up, and do we come back down and hunt liquidity down here, which is the most painful area within the chart. This is where we get a lot of emotions, a lot of liquidity that can be hunted. Is that possible? Sure, but at the current moment, we're not even close to there. We are currently in a nice uptrend. We see that the market in general is showing a lot of strength. Bitcoin is in price discovery. Ethereum finally woke up, and we're seeing a lot of the altcoins reach for the sky. Now the question is do microcaps get their turn? Right? Eventually they do, guys. So we got to be very aware that Delysium is a smaller cap project. It's not a multi-billion-dollar project, and ultimately, when we see the rotation of capital from those large blue chips, eventually people start getting a little bit more comfortable with their risk appetite and ultimately looking for more opportunities, especially with good risk to reward. Ultimately, what we want to see is Delysium break out of this range. There's a clear range here. You can see if we classify this and if we look at it a little bit better, it does look like an inverse head and shoulder. We got a shoulder area, we got a head area, and we got a shoulder area, and then we have a clear neckline right around this zone because of these tops. All of this. It's a very nice level to expect a breakout, and it's starting to look like a nice pivot point structure where we can start breaking out and getting to higher levels. So this is where big picture, I am focusing. I'm not focusing on the lower term time frames. I'm not looking at the 15-minute and all that kind of stuff. If you want to scalp and you want to get into quick trades that you hold for a few hours or days, that's totally fine. But I'm preparing my bags for a long-term or hold where I'm expecting the market to recuperate from its retracement and get to previous highs and get into price discovery. Because with a small position, with a few points of leverage, you could do very well, and a decent position size is what can make you very, very profitable, even if you're not using a lot of leverage. Okay, guys, so leverage is good, but you got to be quick in and out, lower time frames. But big picture, guys, this thing's looking good as long as we stay above with some conviction, because we did come down a little bit, hunt liquidity. As long as we stay above 15.8 cents, we're still bullish. Now, the reality is that even if we fall below, we kind of still stay in a very bullish stance still, because we're not breaking below this low. That's the last line in the sand. If we break below this low right here at about 10 cents, 10.7 cents, that's very bad. That's very bearish, because then we continue the trend to the downside. All we did was make a lower high, and then we come down for another lower low down to this level, and then we start hunting this liquidity, like I mentioned. And if you start zooming out, you're like, oh, Mike, you know what? I can see that. Maybe this rally up was similar to this dead cat bounce right here, where we rallied up, was a bull trap, and we come down for a lower low. Rally up, bull trap, we come down for a lower low. Is that possible? Why not? So let's entertain the possibility and make sure that you have a clear invalidation of this current bullish thesis that we can easily come up with. The market is right now currently really easy to get bullish, and as long as you maintain your structure and your setup from a risk to reward ratio opportunity, you're doing good. So let's take a look at oscillators real quick, guys. By the way, if you're interested in knowing about these oscillators, which are the synergy signal oscillators, feel free to check the links in the description. I'll give you full links to go see what it's all about. It's been doing pretty good here, guys. You know, we're not severely overbought. We got nice and overbought right here, and since then we've been retracing. Purple line coming down, and volatility in between has been showing us major expansions to the downside. We got our first green expansion upwards, which means that maybe we're going to start changing directions in the next little while. And you can see that we went up, we came down. Now do we go up for another impulsive move and finally start breaking, finally getting back to the previous price action? It could definitely happen. Just understand that in lower time frames like the 4 hour, we could be pushing down. As you can see, momentum is definitely pushing down and trying to get somewhat oversold. And you can see that right now the EMAs are facing down, very ambiguous, very uncertain. Look at all this uncertainty right here, but it's in the bearish control zone. As we were in the past, these is where we get bigger dips on the lower time frame. So right now Delysium is battling that horizontal. Okay, let's be clear about that. Right now, Delysium is still battling this horizontal support at 16 cents, about 16 cents. It's battling that zone. If it can win that battle and stay above, eventually the market will start to feel comfortable that this is the support zone and that this is a bull flag. Okay, this is an impulsive move, sideways price action, continuation to the upside. And usually the next move to the upside is the strongest based on Elliott wave theory. The third wave to the upside should be the strongest if we're going to see an impulsive move to the upside, a full 5 waves to the upside, which could take us to the previous high. Okay, so this is potentially the beginning of the Delysium's bottom and, you know, basically reclamation of previous price action right back to about 60 cents. And of course getting into price discovery. So guys, we got to be very clear here. The only way that we're going to get bullish is, again, if we stay above, right? We stay above, and then we can start looking for TP zones depending on how much risk you take. 83% right here, almost 5-to-1 ratio, great ratio. Blast through the volume gap, which has very little resistance. Now you're up 178. You get my point. But understand that even still, we could still come down to hunt this liquidity down here. And if we do, be careful, because then we're hunting this bottom. We're coming down. So this is why you have to have your validation. Right now, I'm very interested in seeing the price stay above this zone right here, which is at about $14.7 cents below that previous low, as you can see. And as long as we maintain this structure, risk to reward is in our favor. All right, guys. So if I've offered you any value in this deep dive, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. Guys, I'm going to be live tonight at 8 p.m. EST. I'm live 6 evenings a week talking about crypto news and price action. And if you want to join the Discord, it is absolutely free, and it gives you an opportunity to request a future deep dive for next week. And in addition to that, to vote on the deep dive, because I don't choose them, you guys do. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.